Going to Kansas City. If I could, I could, I could, I could. I'm going to Kansas.
Welcome everybody to the last episode of Choppin' It Up with the Cleavers for 2022. My name is Emmanuel Cleaver III.
And I'm Emil Cleaver.
Check us out on Tuesdays. We drop a new episode, but this will be the last one for the year. The next new episode will air on January 3rd, 2023. So because this
January 3rd.
January 3rd, that's a Tuesday,
That means
right?
that we had to do it on January 1st.
That means we have to do it on January 2nd. Okay. January 2nd is Monday.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll be in town.
Man, do we need to talk about this? So are we going to air on January 3rd or not?
We'll let you know when we'll air again.
Man. Anyway, this is the last one of 2022. So we thought we'd do a year-end review, talk about some of the biggest news stories, just to recap the year. Then after that, we're going to hand out some awards for 2022. And then we'll end this episode talking about the best albums of 2022. So
we liked,
of course,
I'm sure there's a lot of albums that we don't listen to
that's all I can.
That are great.
Yeah, there's some good albums that, just not my style of music. But big news, something that just happened is Argentina won the World Cup. And even though that's not may not be as big in the United States,
but it's big across the world.
Football, as it is known, is the biggest sport in the world, not our football. And I think we talked about this before, just how arrogant it is for Americans to take something and call it football. There's only one person on the team that actually kicks the ball in American football. But anyway, Argentina won, beat France. And so that was, of course, big news around the world.
Yep. Congratulations to Argentina.
Yeah. What other big news stories? I have some, of course.
Throughout the year, the Winter Olympics happened earlier this year.
Winter Olympics is good.
I don't think people care about the Olympics.
Not the winter,
like
the summer. Yeah,
at one time the Winter Olympics, was sort of big, but the Summer Olympics is always bigger. Yeah. But I think people pay less and less attention to the Winter Olympics, especially.
Yeah, it was. The difference today. I was talking to somebody about this the other day. There's so many shows to choose from. So you talking about 20 years ago when the Olympics came on, what else were you going to watch? Because nothing else was going to try to compete with the Olympics.
Right.
So that's all that was on. But today, you go to all these streaming networks, so just too many options. So the Olympics, has a lot more competition.
Yeah.
Other big news.
Of course. You want me to tell you all the big news?
No, I'm about
Ukraine.
To name some.
Of course, Ukraine. Russia invaded Ukraine, declared war on Ukraine, which was probably the biggest news of the year.
The biggest, yes, absolutely.
A few Americans were stuck over there. Brittany Griner, as you know, who was just came home. But Vladimir Putin.
Man, he's a dictator. What you think about? Come on, man. Be professional. What you think about Americans that signed up or went over to fight with Ukraine? And some of them died going over there to fight for Ukraine.
Yeah, I guess some people just, I don't know. They want to fight for freedom everywhere, but when you say something like that, it reminds me of Lawrence of Arabia. Have you ever seen that movie? It's based off a true story. But this was a guy, a British guy, who went to the Middle East and fought in their war. But he ended up dying on a motorcycle accident. But the point is, he was a thrill junkie. He just had to have some sort of action in his life. And when you say people from America go to Ukraine to fight in that war, that's the first thing I think of, Lawrence of Arabia.
Well, one thing I think of is, it's admirable, I guess, you want to fight for people's freedom. But here in the United States, some folks still aren't completely free. Still some folks fighting for rights here. So, if you want to fight for something, Ukraine needs assistance, but some folk here in the country where you live need some assistance. I'm not going to anybody if that's what they choose to do.
Yeah, I guess that's what they.
I mean, that's their thing. But hey, we trying to be free. Let us free here.
Who said that?
That was in Amistad. You don't remember that?
Yeah, I saw Amistad once.
Yeah, he learned. I only saw it once too. But he learned to speak English listening, and he's like, "Let us free,
let us free."
Other big news: the midterm election. Everybody was expecting this wave of the Republican Party, but it didn't happen. And I'm gonna tell you the reason why. I have the knowledge of why. Man, people ain't conservative. Who wants to conserve what we've always done when what we've always done has only benefited a small group? So most Americans aren't conservative. So that's why the wave didn't happen. That's why a Republican has not won the popular vote in a long time.
Yeah.
I don't want to conserve anything. We trying to do some new stuff. But of course, that was the big news. Midterm election, there were some shocks, and of course, the election got a lot of news. We talked about it several times. The Georgia Senate race, Herschel Walker and Raphael Warnock. But I might be mentioning one of those people a little later in the show. Other big news was for the first time in American history, a former president's home was raided by the FBI. I mean, you would
Whose
think.
home was? Which president was it?
Come on, man, Donnie,
Donald Trump.
old Donnie, and but you would think, man, that would steer people clear. Like, man, this dude is having. Not only are his people being indicted and arrested and sentenced, his former attorney who turned on him. I forgot his name.
Are you talking about the one who handled the Stormy Daniels?
Yeah.
I can't remember his name either, but yeah, he's
was
coughing.
all
He's
in.
singing like a canary now. But I mean, he did whatever Trump told him to
Yeah,
do.
so I mean, I don't have a lot of sympathy
Yeah,
on him.
I have none.
I mean, come on, man. He did everything that Donald told him to do and lied for him, spoke up for him. Then he got caught up, and Donald didn't speak up for him. So now he wants to turn. But, I mean, just imagine that. A former president investigated by the FBI, his company, which also is big news, that the Donald Trump organization was found guilty of tax fraud for several years, over a decade.
That's why he didn't want to give up his tax information.
Yeah.
When he became president.
Big news, some of the big news stories. You got anything else? I mean, there's been a lot of
Roe
stuff.
v. Wade.
Yeah,
That was a
Wade.
big thing this year. So abortions in America are illegal once again because men have decided so.
Yeah, on a federal level, yes, it's illegal. But yeah, I mean, I'd like to have a conversation, and because I know the argument on the other side. They're going to say you're taking life, and we have to do everything to protect life. Now, of course, the response is, well, there's a whole lot of black and brown people who are already alive, and you aren't protecting their life. But the other thing is how you're just going to tell somebody else what they have to do with their body. I mean, that doesn't. If you really think about it, I don't know that they really think about it.
Probably not.
They really think about it. They'd be like, okay, yeah, you're right. That doesn't make sense. So for all those who never really thought about it, I'm not telling you not to believe that abortion is wrong. Hey, that's what you believe. That's what you believe. But I'm just saying we should also take in consideration that how in the world you're going to tell somebody else what to do with their body. You want to stop abortions. Somebody made the suggestion that have all the boys get vasectomies until they get married. And then the response is going, well, you can't make boys get a vasectomy. Well, you're making women do things with their body. I mean, it's the same thing.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because vasectomies, in most cases, can be reversed. So, of course, yeah, that was big news in 2022. Of course, inflation. You can't forget that. Inflation was huge, or is still huge.
Yeah. You can tell by all of the homeless people
Man.
in Kansas City. I don't know people looking and up from watching this show from other cities, but in Kansas City, the homeless population is pretty bad.
Everywhere.
I mean, we have a lot of homeless camps, I guess you can call them.
Like I was telling this, I don't remember camps before. I mean, we've had, just like every major city, we had homeless people, but do you remember seeing camps before?
Not like this.
Yeah,
I mean, I remember seeing it on TV, like in the bigger cities, New York and L.A., and things like
here.
Chicago, but yeah.
I don't remember it
now in Kansas City, there's homeless camps. I mean,
and it's all over. I was in Portland. They have a camp, and it's downtown, but the homeless have to be up and remove everything by 8.
So they had to move everything every day.
Right when it's working. Well, they have to uproot the camp. They can't be there.
It seems like it would be better served if the city just helped them find homes. Instead of just telling them to move.
You telling me something that's obvious. I mean, the same thing here. At least here they're not being uprooted, but there was it's like a little park, and so while people are coming in for work, so it's during the week when people are coming downtown for work, they have to be gone. They can't be the street, but then I guess when it closes, they can go back to their little homeless camp. Inflation. It'll tell you how bad it is. So we're giving food away at St. James, but for last several weeks, the harvesters where we get our food didn't have meat, so we're giving them impossible meat. And
Impossible meat,
right? I mean, plant-based meat. I mean, it's
know,
not real meat. But what I'm saying is, and while I'm all for that,
how are the people feeling about that? I guess they'll take whatever they can.
Some people ask, hey, where's the chicken? Because if you look at it, it's the name of it is called Chickless. So people, but it's for food suppliers, people have food pantries, organizations all over the city. That's the case. I mean, they're running out of meat. That's just, you're talking about inflation and the rise and the cost of everything. That's what one
running out of meat, man. That's bad when you run out of meat.
Yeah,
I guess
you're not getting. But if you're hungry,
you
eat what you can. I mean, at the end of the day, it's going to be healthier anyway. But you go to the grocery
not necessarily,
stores,
but
I mean, in terms of, we won't have that debate. But even if you go to the grocery store, man, there's stuff missing from the shelves. I mean, we're in a
there's a shortage definitely at the grocery stores.
And we're seeing it, and then that's why the cost of everything. You buy something online, I mean, that stuff is ridiculous. So we're still dealing with some stuff. We had some mass shootings. I think it's over 300 that we had in the United States in 2022,
man,
which is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's
still
sad. I mean, I think Kansas City, we're at the second or third highest murder rate we've been at.
Yeah. Last year, what is it, 20 or 21, we broke the record.
Yeah, we're past that.
Yeah. So, people all over the world, people got it bad, man, and they're struggling. And because we live in such a violent country, we still haven't figured out how to work things out, and still haven't done anything about the mass shootings. I mean, nothing has been done. Nothing has been done to prevent it, except maybe more teachers carrying some gats to school, which probably isn't good. I mean, think about some of the teachers that we had, man, that they had a gun. It's just one of the nuns at Our Lady of Lourdes packing a gat.
Yeah, that would have been pretty bad, especially some of those kids. I don't think I would have necessarily been shot, maybe by the 7th grade teacher, but the nuns would have. There were some other kids that were.
Yeah, it was some of the
Sister Anita might have popped.
Just to say, and then when the parents came, like he kept running his mouth.
You know how he is.
You can get mad if you want. You know how he talks. So just some things that happened in 2022. But also this year, we want to do some end of the year awards. So one of the awards we're going to give this year, and I have my own award. I don't know if we're going to agree. It's called the Uncle Ruckus Award. And the Uncle Ruckus, if you're familiar with the Boondocks.
Or if you're not familiar with the Boondocks, we'll let you know. No, explain
Well, I'm saying now we'll explain it, but check it out. I mean, it's good social commentary. What's his name? Aaron Magruder.
Yeah.
Man, he was really.
Really ahead of his time with his writing.
But Uncle Ruckus was this black man who was on the show who hated black people.
Hated them.
And he believed that he was really white, even though his skin was very dark. That he had something called reverse
revitiligo. Revitiligo. It's the opposite of what Michael Jackson had.
Yeah. So
lucky bastard.
And Uncle Ruckus hated
what he used to say.
Black people.
Hated him. So revitiligo makes it, instead of like Michael Jackson, vitiligo, it makes his skin white, appear white. Well, Uncle Ruckus says he has revitiligo, so his skin gets darker and darker and blacker every year.
So that's how he explains.
But he's really white. He's really white, and his mother convinced him of this as when he was a kid. But anyway,
he's not really white. He thinks he's really white.
His mother,
he believes
that's what I'm
he's really
saying.
white.
His mother.
Yeah. So this award is given to a black person who seems to hate other black people, and there are plenty of them out there. Candace Parker.
Candace Owens.
I'm sorry, Candace Parker. I'm
like
sorry.
That.
I'm sorry. Great basketball player, one of the greatest, maybe the greatest female basketball player. So I'm sorry for that. That was a slip. So Candace Owens. I don't know if Stacey Dash is still. Does she still hate black people?
She changed her mind. She apologized to black people.
Okay,
yeah. So she's coming back.
At one point, she did hate black people. But this year's award to me has to go to Herschel Walker. We talked about him many times. I mean, he says in a speech, he shouldn't freestyle with his speeches. One of the sad things about 2022 is we won't get to hear him anymore and laugh. But I have to give it to him because he said people call him coon, and he said he welcomed being called a coon.
Coons are smart animals.
I don't think
coons
he really
are very smart animals, according to Herschel.
I don't think he really understood. But just because, all the things he said during his campaign, I mean, he just deserves that award. There are some other contenders, so I don't want to name them because you might name them, but that Herschel Walker gets the Uncle Ruckus Award. Who do you have?
So my Uncle Ruckus Award, it's pretty easy this year. I would have to go with Herschel Walker again. Candace Owens was a close second.
He's up there.
But Herschel Walker, he's made it abundantly clear. He hates me. Not because he's ever met me, but because
like your skin color.
My skin is black, and he hates black people. Just like Uncle Ruckus. So Herschel Walker, without a doubt, everything that he's said and done this year.
He doesn't really like his wife because she likes black people.
Yeah.
His wife is white.
Yeah, and that's Clayton Bigsby, who divorced his wife for
Dave
that.
Chappelle.
But yeah, Herschel Walker, and the way he just sat there with Lindsey Graham and what's that other, the worst human being, Ted Cruz, and they just talked about it. I mean, just like he was a little pet monkey, and he's just sitting there smiling. He doesn't understand what's going on.
Part of it he doesn't understand. So
yeah, but
Herschel Walker,
you are Uncle Ruckus.
You win
for
the
2022
Uncle Ruckus Award of 2022.
Ain't no doubt about that, my brother.
All right, we might disagree. Well, we'll see where we are. The next award we have is the Trailblazer Award, and this is someone who breaks the glass ceiling, metaphorically, figuratively, and they blaze a trail for others like them in an area. And for me, this was pretty easy. I mean, I have one, Judge Ketanji Jackson, first black woman on the Supreme Court, broke that glass ceiling. Big deal. Huge deal. She deserved it. She handled herself, even though there were some senators who did everything. They were trying to trip her up simply because, I mean, this is my interpretation, simply because I don't think they like black people. They couldn't say it. So they threw all these other things out because they didn't like black people. Now, runner-up for Trailblazer of the Year is Dr. Claudine Gay. She was just named last week the first black person to serve as president of Harvard University, the oldest college in the United States. Now has a black woman. She's the first black person. Harvard was started back in 1680, 16 something. The amazing thing is because it was started back in 16 something, and they've only had 30 presidents.
Damn.
Yes, right.
Well, I mean, you get that job, you staying. You're not trying to leave.
Where do you go after that?
Yeah, that's the.
So she's stepping in, and that's a huge deal. So that's why I have as the trailblazer and runner-up trailblazer.
So my trailblazer is going to go to Judge Jackson. That's a pretty obvious choice for me. I mean, the way she's setting the tone for women in the future. I mean, women, little girls that are born after 2022 on will only know Ketanji Jackson on the Supreme Court. So she's breaking down barriers, broke the glass ceiling. Congratulations to her. Many years. I think she's the youngest person. Is she the youngest on the?
Yeah, I think she's only like 50, early 50s.
So she'll be there for a minute. You know, hopefully she'll be there for a long time, and it's gonna inspire and motivate a lot of young black girls.
That's amazing that that the kids growing up, kids born after 22 will only know the Supreme Court has had a black woman.
Yeah.
When we grew up, I mean,
that was unthinkable.
That didn't even cross your mind. I mean, there was Thurgood Marshall.
And that was it.
Then along came.
And he fought hard. Then
right.
You had Uncle Clarence Thomas.
Yeah, Uncle who's I mean, the award could be named after Clarence Thomas instead of Uncle Ruckus. But, that's all we had. So big ups for Trailblazers of the Year. Best athlete of the year, and this could have gone in a number of different directions because there's so many sports.
Yeah.
Of course, football being the biggest, American soccer, but what's really football, you could take, since that's the biggest sport, take the best person. What's his name? Ronaldo, somebody, and probably put him in there. I mean, he's the highest paid. But I went a different route. So for me, the best athlete of 2022, I'm going to put boxer extraordinaire Clarissa Shields.
Okay.
Clarissa Shields, was the first boxer to win back-to-back Olympics, gold medals. I mean, so she started off her career blazing.
Yeah.
And then
to win 2 gold medals, that's hard to do.
I know.
Some of the best boxers in the world didn't do that. Floyd Mayweather couldn't do that.
He didn't even win gold.
Exactly.
So I have her, and she became the undisputed middleweight. So let me back up. In 2021, Clarissa Shields did something that no other boxer has ever done. She became the undisputed champ in 2 weight classes. No boxer has done that. There are boxers who have won championships in multiple weight classes, but no one has ever been undisputed. So here's what undisputed means. Because there are 4 major belts in boxing.
Which is ridiculous.
Yes. Because of those 4 major belts, so somebody could be the middleweight champion, the WBO middleweight champion, somebody could be the WBA.
The IBF.
IBF and WBC. Those are the 4 belts. So if you have all 4, you are the undisputed. That means nobody else can claim to be the world champion. Clarissa Shields in 2021 became the first boxer ever to be the undisputed champion in 2 weight classes. And then this year, in 2022, she became the first boxer ever to be the undisputed champion in 3 weight classes. I mean, that's insane. We're talking about 12 belts.
And she just headlined, I think, the first all-women's pay-per-view card not too long ago. So she's an exceptional athlete. And I know a lot of people don't watch boxing, but she's a black woman. And she is. She calls herself the GWOAT, the greatest woman of all time.
So she fought over in England in front of 20,000 people and fought Savannah Marshall. Savannah Marshall was the only person who ever beat her in the amateurs. So she came back and she didn't just win; she knocked her out.
No, she didn't.
She didn't knock her out.
No, I don't think she knocked her out.
I think she was so she went over to England and won that belt. So you give yours. I'm gonna check the stats. We're gonna make sure.
Okay, so my athlete of the year is gonna have to be Steph Curry. Yeah. Steph Curry, I mean, what he's doing in the NBA was never thought to have be possible for someone that little, for someone that small. Of course, you've had tiny Nate Archibald and Allen Iverson who scored a lot of points, but they weren't leading their team to championships like Steph Curry. I think Steph Curry is, without a doubt, the greatest three-point shooter, the greatest shooter in NBA history. 2022, the Golden State Warriors won another NBA title. Steph Curry was the MVP again. The shooting display in that series was amazing. So, yeah, just for him to continue to do it season after season after season and still lead his team to the championship and be the most valuable player. So I'm happy to give it to him. My runner-up is Dimitri Bivol, though.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know
a
him,
boxer,
but he deserves some credit.
who upset I guess the most popular boxer in the world today, Canelo Alvarez, and he was a big underdog, but yeah, Bivol outboxed him.
Yeah,
I mean, he just simply outboxed him, and he's on his way to become a superstar, I think, in boxing. If he keeps it up.
Yeah. So yeah, I looked it up. Clarissa Shields did win by unanimous decision. I'm trying to think, who did I think she knocked out? Anyway, so she won by unanimous decision. But Bivol, yeah, he's a possible
another boxer,
boxing star.
Yeah. Boxing. What he did to Canelo was, nobody thought that he was going to do that, but yeah, and a lot of people that were in boxing knew they weren't surprised by what he did to Alvarez. Alvarez is the star of boxing. He's the face
biggest
of boxing, the biggest boxer in the world. His only loss previous to that was Floyd Mayweather, and a lot of people would say Floyd caught him at a good time when he was young, before he developed all of his skills, and at this time he was thought to be almost unbeatable until Bivol.
But he did move up.
Outboxing.
I mean, Bivol was bigger, but he did outbox him too.
It wasn't a power thing. It was a boxing.
He outboxed him. So that was.
So that's my runner-up, Steph Curry, and then Bivol.
I thought about Steph Curry, putting him in there. I mean, he's doing. Dude is a baller. The other award we have, the KKK Award, and we need a better name for this. So maybe call it the Andrew Jackson Award. He was the most racist president. Or somebody.
The David Duke
David Duke Award. And this is for the person who displays racism at a high level.
The highest level.
For the year.
I mean, you are the most racist person of 2022, in our opinion.
Yeah. So my person, the one who wins the David Duke, Andrew Jackson KKK Award this year is Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson always wants to say, it's not about race with him. But for several of his shows, he talked about the Great Replacement Theory. The Great Replacement Theory is the concept that whites are being replaced in this country by minorities. So he talked about it several times on his show. But then when you have the guy, the mass shooter in Buffalo, who killed 10 people at a grocery store and shot some more, talk about the Great Replacement Theory, which is based in racism and anti-Semitism. Then Tucker Carlson, either that day or the next day, said he had never heard of the Great Replacement Theory.
After he had talked about it on air?
Yes.
Well, I mean, I really, truly believe, and I'm not just saying this because I don't like him, but I truly believe that he's not very intelligent at all. Like, he probably has a third grade level of
comprehension.
I mean, so. I really do. I mean, if you listen to him talk, he's just repeating what other people are saying. He has no clear thoughts of him for himself. I mean, he is a true idiot. But yeah, he's racist.
Yeah, I mean, if the dude, you might be right. He might have the capacity of a third grader, and that's not to insult third graders. But I mean, the fact that he talked about the Great Replacement Theory several times on his show, I mean, one, he could win the award for that. But then to come back and say that he had never heard of it. when I don't know how
Idiot.
people can say that. We have the evidence, man.
Yeah, he's an idiot.
So
I'm trying to tell
you might be right.
Trying to tell
But
you.
Donald Trump does the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we have the evidence. So that's who I have as the KKK award, David Duke. I have a runner-up, but he might be your first. So
So my racist of the year is Kanye West.
that's my runner-up.
Kanye West hates black people. Kanye West doesn't like black people. What did Kanye say about George Bush?
George Bush doesn't like black people.
Kanye West doesn't like black people. I mean, first he says slavery's a choice. Harriet Tubman didn't really release the slaves. What's his name? George Floyd didn't really die from a knee on his neck. He died of a drug overdose, even though we all saw him.
We saw it, man.
We saw it for our own eyes.
We don't need no report.
He's on an extreme anti-Semitic raid. But yeah, he's been going against black people for years now.
Yeah.
So yeah, Kanye West, he is, and I know some people are saying, but yeah, he's lost his mind. He's a lunatic. Yeah.
That's why I
you may
didn't
be
have
right,
number one.
but he's still in the public eye, wearing a mask for every interview that he does. I don't know, a ski mask.
What has he said why he's wearing it, or do you know? I don't.
He hasn't said why.
I guess he's just making a fashion statement. Yeah, I mean, there's no question that Kanye doesn't like black people. But yeah, the reason I had Tucker Carlson over him, but now, I mean, once you said this about Tucker Carlson, I might have to rethink it. But I didn't put Kanye because to me, he's like, man, I mean, is he just saying that just to get attention, or does he really believe it? I mean, either way, it's not helpful to any human being. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. He hates black people. He hates black people. Man, I got this new phone. I don't know.
Yeah, man. I mean, people are laughing like, man, does this dude, how professional is he?
Yeah, I don't know.
To have little dings going during the show. So those are the awards that we handed out. Let us know who you think deserved the
I thought
award.
we were going to have the rising star.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Rising star. So the rising star is somebody, it can be in any field of human endeavor that has captured the attention or is capturing the attention of people and will probably go on to do some great things. So for me, the person I have as the rising star is Representative Hakeem Jeffries from New York. He became the first black person to lead a party in Congress. And, you know, if the Democrats get the House again, he'll be the first black Speaker of the House. So he is a rising star. The fact that he's a Gen Xer. See, I always thought, man, in some of these areas, Gen Xers is going to get left out because baby boomers, held on to a lot of stuff.
They're holding on to it. They are. I mean, I'm laughing, but that's because it's true.
And so Gen Xers have been waiting. Hey, when is it our turn? And
we're still waiting.
Baby boomers will hold on. But the thing about it is millennials coming behind us
know.
like,
Yes.
we're not waiting.
I know.
I don't care.
I'm a Gen Xer. I know.
I know.
I'm getting squeezed out. I know. I understand this.
that. So the fact that Hakeem Jeffries,
I'm waiting for people. Step aside, please.
Yeah, I understand. So the fact that Hakeem Jeffries, he's a Gen Xer, and he is the head of the leading the party, Democrats in the House. So he is definitely my rising star for 2022.
And my rising star, I don't know if I'm saying her name right, Marseille Martin. So she was Diane on Blackish. Young lady is executive producing now, starring in her own movies. I think she has a new television show, but I think that she learned at a young age the business aspect of it. You know, a lot of people, we have the talent, and then we just let somebody else guide our careers. But I think she's learned from a young age. She's only 18. That she's going to take control of her career. She's going to put herself in the type of movies she wants to be in and the type of television shows she's going to be in. So, I'm going to give her the rising star. I think we're going to be hearing about her 20, 30 years from now. She's going to be in a legendary status, I believe.
Yeah, because she produced her first movie. What
Yeah,
that
she was the youngest executive producer in, I think, Hollywood history. That was the movie where she changed places with
Regina Hall.
Yeah, Regina Hall. Yeah.
So that was it was good. I mean, she's killing the game. So mad props. So let us know who you think should win the awards for Uncle Ruckus Award, Trailblazer Award, Best Athlete, Andrew Jackson / KKK David Duke Award, and then the Rising Star Award. We're going to end the year with doing the top albums for the year. I think I went first last time, didn't I? Mm-hmm. So top albums of 2022.
It's all hip hop on this list. R&B, R&B is slipping. R&B music today sounds just like rap music. I mean, you're just singing, you're saying the same words as rappers, same beats as rappers. So I think R&B, in my mind, is kind of dying. Of course, there's still some soul singers out there, that are making good soul music, but R&B,
Actually, they're just sampling. They're just taking, like you. Yeah, you're right. They're just taking rap beats, old beats,
and they're not talking. I mean, it's not so much love music anymore as Anyway, but yeah. So there's no R&B this year. I'm not an R&B hater or just an all hip hop fan, but so my number 5, even though this came out December 21st, 2021, Nas's Magic. It came out, last week of December, but it really resonated 2022. One of Nas's best albums.
It is.
The beats, rhymes, just a very, very well put together project. Nas has been on a roll. He's on fire right now. So, Nas Magic, number 5. Like I said, even though that's was technically released the last week of December. Number 4, I have No Fear of Time, Black Star. Even though they only released it on one streaming service, I was still able to hear the album. Very good album, different album. Beats are different, no hooks necessarily. But the beats are great. The rhymes, lyrical skills of Mos Def and Talib Kweli are at an all-time high. I mean, lyrically, they're definitely better.
They've always been top.
Yeah, I mean, they've always been good, but lyrically better. They're better now than they've ever been. So number 3, I have No Cheat Codes, and that is an album by Black Thought and Danger Mouse. So Black Thought, the lead rapper for The Roots, and Danger Mouse is an eclectic hip-hop producer. Him and Danger Doom made some good music. Him and CeeLo Green made some good music.
Made some music with a lot of people.
Yeah, made a lot of good music. But he and Black Thought put an album together that is different.
It's a lot different. But it works. I mean, you don't think about hip-hop like, because when I heard that they were doing an album together, I'm like, yeah, Black Thought is a lyricist, but it works, man.
It works.
It works.
They just mesh well together. Black Thought, he's released 4 projects without The Roots these last few years that have been very good. But yeah,
Have you heard Black Thought Against the World?
Yeah, man. Come on. Of course. Yeah, but so Black Thought, and Danger Mouse made a great album this year. Check it out. It's different. No Fear of Time by Black Star, and No Cheat Codes by Black Thought and Danger Mouse are 2 very different hip-hop albums. Number 2, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, Kendrick Lamar. He put together another masterpiece. This dude is a true artist. His latest video is another artistic win. But yeah, Kendrick is a true artist, and the album that he put together is kind of the first album that really delves deep into mental illness in the black community. I mean, if you think about it, mental illness in the black community, a rapper is rapping about it and making it work. But yeah, he's one of the all-time great artists of this era. But yeah, That's my number 2 album. I know a lot of people will probably put that number 1. I know it's nominated for Grammys and probably will win. But my number 1 album, like I said, this dude is on fire right now. Nas, King's Disease 3, another masterpiece by Nas. I mean,
Hit Boy.
You cannot skip any songs on this. Lyrical masterpiece, production masterpiece. Hit Boy, the way he changes the beats up in a song.
Stuff he did with the 5 Heartbeats beat.
Yeah.
Man,
I hope they make that the next video.
This dude is sick. Take that.
If they make that the next, I'm guessing that's the next video. But the album is incredible. Nas is at an all-time high. Hit Boy, his stock is gone
Absolutely.
through the roof after this. But that's my number 1 album, King's Disease 3.
So I'm gonna put similar, but I do have I don't know if it's R&B or soul. Well, we'll call it soul. I had a debate saying soul was just the name given like neo soul because R&B just went off track. So, anyway, so I'm gonna go ahead and put No Fear of Time, that Black Star album, at number 5. Most Def and Talib Kweli, one of the great. They're 2 of the greatest lyricists of all time.
Yep.
I mean, their rhymes. You're gonna think. It's not. They don't just say words that rhyme.
They're not just doing candy cane raps.
You got to think when you're listening to them, and so
Read some books.
yeah. Needs when digging into my library. So and then their solo. I mean, they both put out some solo stuff that's been on fire. So Black Thought, a Black Star. Number 4, I have Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers by Kendrick Lamar. He's probably the most creative hip hop artist solo that we've ever seen.
Possibly,
Yeah, he is very creative, and like you said, he is an artist. And the thing about it is he stays true to art, but the masses love it. A lot of times when you stay true to the art,
you lose some fans, but they
only
seem to
get
be
the
sticking
truth.
with him.
Yeah, I mean, because he's doing his thing. So, mad props to Kendrick Lamar. Number 3, I have An Evening with Silk Sonic. Yeah, it came out late 2021.
Yeah.
But that stuff was rocking all year.
Yeah, I mean it was, and that's a good. Is that what you think that's R&B or is it what is that?
Like I said, they would probably classify it as neo soul. Silk Sonic, we're talking about Anderson .Paak and Bruno Mars. But what would you call it? I mean, yeah. So like I said, I would call it neo soul, but I had a debate with somebody who's like, neo soul. I mean, it's really R&B.
Yeah.
But R&B is just, people try to disassociate what R&B
Because
has
R&B has become garbage.
Yeah.
I would say soul, R&B soul. But that
It's a good album. Man.
that's. I think it's probably one of the best R&B albums in the last decade.
Time.
In the last decade, probably.
I don't know
at
if
least.
R&B about it. I mean, they've had some hits with Skate.
I think when it's all said and done, I think it's going to be one of the greatest R&B albums of all time,
absolutely.
if it's not already.
Yeah, Smoking Out the Window.
One of the greatest albums, period.
Leave the Door Open. So it's a banger. And they've like I said, it came out late 2021, but
Hopefully they'll do another album too.
yeah, I mean, the way they do it, man. Gee whiz. Number 2, similar, Cheat Codes, Black Thought, and Danger Mouse. My favorite song on there is No Gold Teeth.
Yeah.
I mean, he kills it.
Yeah, he does. That was the first song they released. That was when I got me hooked to it. They released that, and I'm like, man.
Black Thought. And he's just that. Then I like the song "Stranger" with A$AP Rocky and Killer Mike, and "Belize" with MF Doom.
Yeah.
They got some
Rest in
hits
peace,
on there.
MF Doom.
Yeah. Well, most of our folk have no idea who he is.
No.
But that's all right. Again, I think we've given you all some of these hip hop artists you ought to go check out that are talking about something.
And if you're not a fan of hip hop, a lot of the artists we're talking about are a little different than what you're hearing on the radio. MF Doom is completely different than anything you've ever heard. And a lot of his music was played on the not the Cartoon Network, Adult Swim. Yeah. They used to play a lot of his music, but he's a different type of dude. He's another person that's, he's more about the art than trying to make a song for the radio.
The other the number one, I mean, it's similar. If you've heard King's Disease 3 with Nas, production by Hit Boy, man, it's hard to put an album. I mean, it is one of the great albums of all time, great hip hop albums of all time. And I think
I'm listening to it pretty much every day at this point.
man, when 20 years from now, they're gonna be talking about Illmatic and King's. Well, they're gonna talk about the King's Disease series.
Yeah, the franchise.
Yeah,
because he
changed hip hop.
Yeah, you've never seen an older rapper, a rapper who's been around almost 30 years, come up with something new that relevant, and people are saying that he's better than ever.
Yeah,
He's pretty much better than ever at this point. I mean, lyrically, you'd have to say lyrically, it is better than Illmatic.
Absolutely, yeah. And there's no question. But since he's done these King's Disease 3 albums, you see a lot of other rappers who are older coming out. I mean, Big Daddy Kane's dropping stuff. With,
he's dropping a lot of stuff.
He's
a lot
rapping
of guest
with several
appearances.
people. I mean, he's like, man,
Cool G Rap just dropped his new album.
it's like, hey, Nas has shown the way. And because before you reach a certain age in hip hop, then you like it's the younger guys. But even with Mount Westmore, I mean, these are guys in their late 50s and mid 50s who just dropped an album. So if you're not familiar,
they haven't
with
dropped
Mount
it yet, have they? They just dropped the singles.
the album I think is supposed to drop this month, sometime this month.
Yeah,
But Mount Westmore, we're talking about Too Short, who I think is 57, 58.
E40,
who's in his mid 50s. Yeah. Ice Cube, who's in his mid 50s, and Snoop is the youngest.
He's 51. No, he's 51.
So they're calling themselves Mount Westmore, the great rappers from the West Coast.
And they probably are.
No, not probably.
The four greatest.
You can say Ice-T because he's the.
You can say Ice-T. You can say
pioneer.
Kendrick.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, it's hard to say that there are four better rappers from the West Coast than those guys.
Right. And they just dropped an album. So, I mean, and I'm glad to see it because for me, I mean, hip hop is so diverse now, and there are generations in hip hop, and there are a lot of good hip hop artists out right now. But for me, I mean, I'd rather pick up that Mount Westmore than some of the other stuff. So they made it. I mean,
saying I do like some of the younger guys
absolutely,
too.
Absolutely.
But I don't know if you heard, De La Soul and Prince Paul are working on a project.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, they took a picture together. They said, Prince Paul was like, after all these years, he's finally getting back in the studio. So that's another old school group. But De La never stopped making music.
Yeah, De La's been doing it. So one album I want to mention that's not on hip hop, but just simply because she's worshipped so much, Beyonce did drop a new album.
Yeah.
And when Beyonce drops her album Renaissance, whenever she drops an album, the world stops.
Yes, it's an event
to listen. I mean, it's a whole thing. And she was nominated. She's been nominated. So now the amazing thing, her and Jay-Z are tied for most Grammy nominations than anyone in history. I mean, think about that. Husband and wife.
Man.
Nominated more than anyone else. They're tied.
Greatest musical couple of all time. Not even
that's
close.
That's a pretty amazing thing.
It is amazing. And Jay-Z, if he drops something else, I'm sure he's going to get nominated again because all the songs that he's been dropping seems to still be on top of his game.
Yeah, he's dropped several songs. So that's our list. Let us know what you think of the top albums. Let us know
what you think about 2022.
Yeah.
Crazy year.
So we'll put something out to let you know when we'll drop our first episode in 2023. So until then.
Before we let you go, I dropped a music project going to Kansas City. I'm going to put the link at the end of this video.
I've listened to it. It's a good album.
8 songs. So you get to check out my hip hop skills and my artistry. But yeah, I'll put the link at the end of the video.
Why don't you re-release Urban Groove Presents? Gotta get mine.
I'll put that on my.
Can you lease? Because I've been listening to that on Fridays, man.
I thought it was good when we first put it out.
If I'm honest, of all the posse cuts, when I hear Blind Spot, I'm like, man, I wish I was on that cut.
Yeah, Blind Spot was a good song, but that's an old CD. I'm gonna put all the old stuff on.
I wrote a rhyme to it
in January. Yeah, we're gonna make some song. We're gonna make a new theme song for this show too, coming up soon.
So check us out. We don't see you till then. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Happy New Year. Have a safe New Year. Till then, peace.
Peace.
I'm of the modest. Here I come. That's where I'm from. I say I'm going.